Fuels won't last forever, and alternative types of energy aren't nearly good enough to power the world. Solar power, wind turbines, biofuel, all these new energies are too inefficient, too costly, and way too impractical. However, one type of fuel stands out. Nuclear power is the best energy source in the world, and we need to use it more. It's almost 1 million times more powerful than oil, produces almost no waste, and, with the support of new technology, is completely safe. The main fuel source in nuclear power plants is an isotope of uranium called U-235. Because it is radioactive, it fissions, or splits, into two or more parts. This process causes a lot of heat to emit from the uranium, which creates steam that powers a turbine. This is similar to a lot of coal, oil, and gas-powered plants, except for the fact that nuclear power is much more efficient. As the benefits of nuclear energy by Bruno Combi states, 1 gram of uranium yields about as much energy as a ton of coal or oil. Nuclear power is incomparably more powerful than fossil fuels. In addition, uranium is a relatively common element, found in many things like granite, sedimentary rock, and even seawater. According to the World Nuclear Association, there are about 5,902,500 tons of uranium that can be used. Literal tons of potential nuclear energy is in the ground. In fact, the WNA estimates that about 10 million tons of uranium are still undiscovered. At today's rate of consumption, that comes up to about 230 years of use. And even when U-235 runs out, there will be many more sources of nuclear energy, such as thorium, plutonium, and other radioactive materials. Nuclear power is 1 million more times more powerful than fossil fuels, and it'll last for a long, long time. But what about nuclear waste? Yes, nuclear waste is toxic and can be harmful. It is a dangerous substance that could cause many problems if released into groundwater or rivers. However, nuclear waste isn't nearly as much of a problem as you think. Even considering the toxicity of nuclear waste, it is much less of a pollutant than fossil fuels. Not only that, but 97% of toxic waste can be used again to create more energy. Many countries, such as France, do this, and because of this, the average French family only produces an amount of waste as big as a golf ball for their whole life. That's nothing compared to the EPA's estimate of 6,673 million metric tons of CO2 released into the atmosphere in 2013 alone. The nuclear industry is also the only one that responsibly makes sure that their waste doesn't affect the environment. After separating the usable uranium from the waste, nuclear power plants must store it in airtight, steel-lined concrete containers filled with water, and they must make sure that radioactivity doesn't leak out into the environment. Then, after recycling most of its radioactive materials for more use in the power plant, the remaining waste is placed in special geological depositories. These depositories have to be approved by the federal government and are all located where they will have a minimal impact on the environment. One such depository is being considered deep underneath Yucca Mountain, a remote location about 100 miles from Las Vegas. As shown, nuclear power plants produce almost no pollution, and it's the only type of energy that does that. However, it could still cause concerns for meltdowns, until recently. It is true that there have been many significant nuclear meltdowns in the past, such as Chernobyl in 1986 and Fukushima in 2011. However, Chernobyl was a result of fatally flawed Soviet design and operators dangerously running the plant at a lower power than it should have. And the Fukushima disaster was caused by 2 big earthquakes and a tsunami, as well as pre-existing reactor problems, so it shouldn't have been there anyway. Nowadays, safety is the highest priority of the nuclear industry, and their plant designs show it. Every plant must be thoroughly checked and approved before and during use, and the plant must keep up with constantly increasing safety standards. If there's even a potential problem in the plant, the whole thing is shut down until it's fixed and properly tested. Nuclear power has one of the strictest and most rigorous safety laws out there. In addition, the safety concerns for nuclear meltdowns has led to constant improvement in the quality of the power plants. The NRI states that each one has at least 3 elements of safety. The first is multiple physical barriers that protect against accidental radiation release. These include fuel rods that enclose the uranium pellets used to power nuclear energy facilities, the reactor vessel that contains the fuel rods, and other plant safety systems. Secondly, is the use of layer upon layer of plant safety systems designed to ensure that the fuel rods in the reactor vessel remain sufficiently cooled. These systems are designed and constructed under the highest quality standards and are tested to ensure that they perform well. The last one is the Emergency Response Plan, which must be approved by both the NRC and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. These safety systems are accepted as the gold standard even for non-nuclear emergencies. To say the least, it's very safe. Nuclear power truly is the best possible source of energy. It's extremely powerful, releases almost no pollution into the environment, and has become one of the safest energy sources around. It's much better than any other fuel source, especially fossil fuels. Solar and wind power might work in remote or extreme places, but only nuclear energy can power the world. We need to invest in the nuclear industry now